Hello, welcome back, Recapped Mystery here. Today, I'm going to explain the American drama thriller film called Us. Watch out and take care. Santa Cruz is founded in 1896. Addie is at a fun fair with her parents on the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk. She takes a look around the fun fair, seeing the many activities going on around her. Her mother is gone to the loo, and her father is playing a video game. Addie is left alone and wanders off to look about. She first visits a beach near the fun fair before entering a funhouse. The lights go out, and Addie finds herself trapped in a house of mirrors. She unexpectedly runs into her doppelganger. In the present day, a 4-person family travels to Santa Cruz, California. Addie is now an adult and the mother of 2 children, Zora and Jason. They arrive at Addie's childhood house in Santa Cruz after a long trek. Gabe Wilson, her husband, insists on going to the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk that night for fun during lunch. Addie still remembers what that night at the funhouse did to her. She is troubled by recollections of the encounter and her recovery, during which she briefly stopped speaking. She doesn't want to go there again, but Gabe convinces her. After that, the family drives to the beach. They're having a good time in their automobile on their way to the beach. Zora mocks Jason's magical fire ring. At one point, they see paramedics removing the body of an elderly man with blood on his chest. They meet their friends, Josh Tyler, Kitty Tyler, and their twin kids. As they arrive at the beach, Jason goes to the toilet as the 2 families are relaxing. When he returns, he is surprised to see a man who resembles the deceased man they saw earlier. Addie becomes terrified when she notices Jason has disappeared. When she locates Jason, they decide to return home. At night, Addie tells Gabe about her childhood meeting with her doppelganger. Gabe, on the other hand, does not appear to believe her. The lights go out as they converse. Jason appears unexpectedly and informs his parents of a family standing in their driveway. They observe a family of 4 standing there through the window. Zora also appears. Addie panics and calls the cops, while Gabe runs outside to order them to leave. But the family does not respond and simply stands there. Gabe grabs a baseball bat and returns to the field. They start walking towards him this time. He comes inside and locks the doors because he feels intimidated. However, the folks outside discover a concealed key and enter. The family is taken aback when they realize the intruders are their doppelgangers. They surround the family in their living room and threaten them with scissors. They are forced to sit in front of them. Jason's double is Pluto, who likes fire. Zora's double is Umbri, a sadist. Gabe's double is Abraham, and the group leader appears to be Addie's double, named Red. She is the only one who can speak, and her voice is guttural and raspy. Red informs them that they are the Wilson family's shadow, dubbed the Tethered. The Linked share a soul with their doppelgangers and have spent their entire lives as their shadows. They have now decided to untether themselves. Red, alluding to herself and Addie, tells them a story about a girl and her shadow. Red had to eat raw-blooded bunnies while Addie ate delicious and warm food. Addie was given soft toys to play with, whilst Red was given sharp and frigid toys. Addie met Gabe, her adoring prince, but Red was compelled to marry Abraham since he was bound to Gabe. Similarly, Addie had a sweet daughter, Zora, but Red had a nasty monster, Umbri. Finally, she claims that Addie had doctors operate on her and assist with her birth, but Red had to do everything alone. Red has developed a dislike for Addie and her ideal existence. As a result, they have emerged from the shadows to seize their life. Red makes Addie chain herself to the table after explaining. Gabe is dragged away from the room by Abraham. Umbri follows Zora through the streets, while Pluto coerces Jason into playing with him. The goal of the intruders is to divide the Wilsons, terrorize them, and kill them. Pluto and Jason are playing with fire in a small chamber, and Jason is the first to see Pluto's scarred face. Umbri is on the lookout for Zora. A man intervenes just as she is about to stab her with a pair of scissors. Zora flees as Umbri stabs the man to death. Meanwhile, Abraham strikes Gabe, knocking him out. He then places him in a rubbish bag and places him in the boat. Gabe cuts a little hole in the sack and notices Abraham's baseball bat. The boat abruptly comes to a halt. Taking advantage of the situation, Gabe emerges from the bag and hits Abraham with the bat, throwing him into the water. Gabe slips into the sea as the boat begins to move. Gabe notices the boat coming to a halt and climbs on top of it. Abraham then assaults him from behind, but he knocks him back into the sea and kills him. Gabe then drives the boat up to the home. Meanwhile, Jason notices that Pluto is mimicking his actions. He distracts Pluto with his fire ring and escapes, locking him within the room. Red notices the sounds. She enters and unlocks Pluto's door. She searches the home for Jason. Then she finds Addie's old stuffed animal and rips off its head. Although Addie is still tied to the table, she notices a fireplace poker nearby. She manages to liberate herself from the cuffs by grabbing it. She then finds Jason and flees the house. They come across Zora in their driveway. Gabe arrives with his boat just in time. The family jumps on it right away and escapes. Meanwhile, the Tyler family is at home when Kitty notices a noise. She instructs Josh to investigate. Their doppelgangers emerge out of nowhere and slaughter the family in seconds. The Wilsons arrive just then. Addie approaches Josh's duplicate for assistance. When he opens the door for her, she realizes it's not him and smacks him over the head with the fireplace poker. However, it causes him little to no harm. Others from within drag Addie in with them. Gabe and the kids are outside when imposter Josh approaches. Gabe goes in the opposite direction to divert Josh's attention as the kids flee. The children then go inside to look for their mother. Zora chooses a golf club as her weapon. They run upstairs when they hear Addie crying and find the twins' lifeless bodies on the floor. As the look-alike twins play in the background, one of them suddenly emerges in front of Zora. She smacks her with the bat, causing her to tumble over the railings. They are then attacked by the other twin. Zora also kills her after a brief fight. Kitty's double can be found in the bedroom, where she has tied Addie to the bed. Meanwhile, Gabe dashes to the boat, and Josh pursues him. Gabe then shoots Josh with a flare gun and kills him. Through the glass, Kitty witnesses Gabe murdering Josh. Zora suddenly rushes her from behind, but Kitty avoids it. She is about to stab Zora when Jason protects her by smacking her on the head. The Wilsons sit in the living room, trying to make sense of the situation. All 911 lines are occupied. They read the news and realize that this is happening all throughout the country. According to reports, the doppelgangers are emerging from the sewers with scissors as weapons. Across the country, individuals are being stabbed to death carelessly. They notice the doubles joining hands to form a gigantic human chain after killing their counterparts. They appear to have been planning this for months. Addie chooses to drive along the coast and flee to Mexico because the entire country is under siege. Umbre appears in front of the family as they get into the automobile. Umbre leaps onto the car as Zora tries to hit her. Zora suddenly abruptly comes to a halt, sending her flying into a tree, where she gets impaled on a tree branch. After that, the family exits the site. On their way, they come upon multiple dead bodies. They are halted by a burning automobile in the middle of the road. Pluto, Jason's alter ego, appears there. While the others remain in the car, Addie walks out to fight him. Jason quickly realizes that this is a trap. Pluto plans to start the family's automobile. He orders everyone else to go. Jason remembers that the doppelgangers reflect their movements, so he begins walking backwards before Pluto can light the match. This causes Pluto to walk backwards as well. Pluto eventually reaches the blazing car and burns to death. But just then, Red emerges from her hiding place and kidnaps Jason. Addie pursues them. She notices a vast human chain of doppelgangers across the shore. She then returns to the location she first visited all those years ago. She circles it and discovers a door that leads somewhere downstairs. A rabbit emerges through the door. She descends and discovers a vast area. It appears to be a hidden establishment. She takes the lift down and enters a large hallway with many rooms on either side. Many rabbits dart throughout the corridor. She comes across Red in one of the rooms, which appears to be a classroom. On the board, a look-alike human chain is drawn. Addie inquires as to the whereabouts of her son. However, Red begins blabbering about how they, too, are human. She then reveals their existence is secret. Red says that the tethered, also known as the Shadows, are manufactured beings developed by the government to manipulate the originals on the surface for their own warped goals. The project's goal was to create clones who were linked to humans through their souls. The goal of this operation was to use clones to control people all over America like puppets. However, the experiments failed, and the tethered were abandoned underground for years. mindlessly replicating their counterparts' acts and subsisting on rabbit flesh. Faith had brought Red and Addie together that night. The other instantly realized Red was unique. As a result, they chose her to be their leader. They had been planning this for years. They desired vengeance on their adversaries, but more importantly, they desired to make a statement about their presence. As a result, they decided to form a human chain. Following Addie's meeting with Red, her parents enrolled her in a ballet dance class, so Red used to dance and imitate Addie. Dancing, she claims, was the reason she was spared. Then they begin to fight in the style of ballet. All of Addie's attacks are gracefully avoided by Red. In the fight, she has the upper hand. Addie follows Red along the corridors with a fireplace poker in her hand. Their battle intensifies until Red jumps at Addie from behind with a pair of scissors. But before she can reach her, Addie stabs her to death with the fireplace poker. As Red nears death, she whistles the same music Addie heard the first time she met Red. This irritates Addie, so she strangles Red with her handcuffs and maniacally murders her. She then discovers Jason hiding behind a neighboring locker. They both proceed outdoors, where they discover Gabe and Zora sheltering inside an ambulance. The family then exits the ambulance in the same vehicle. We get a flashback to the night Addie met Red as she travels. Addie found herself face to face with Red. Red immediately choked her to death. She dragged her to her room and shackled her to the bed. Red dressed herself like Addie and assumed her seat in real life. That night, Addie's parents returned home with her look-alike. This explains why Red is the only tethered who can speak and think for himself, leading the insurrection. Red's voice is damaged since her double choked her, causing her larynx to be injured and her voice to become harsh and guttural. This also explains why Addie, as a child, was unable to communicate after being discovered at the beach. Shadows don't know how to communicate. Addie's shadow eventually learns to talk and becomes a normal person, capable of love and laughter, and forgets she is a clone. The film concludes with the doppelgangers forming a several-mile-long human chain. Please subscribe to assist the channel, turn on notification and leave a like. Thank you for taking the time to watch. See you again soon.